Grand Valley State University's Computing Club. Here they are. What? Looks like you guys have a good group tonight. This might be a one-way interaction. You're a long ways from the mic, aren't you?
I think we are.
Fair enough. So I wanted to show you guys a little bit about an event that we're hosting at OST downtown. It's called HashCode by Google. And let me bring it up really quick. There it is. Okay. Can you guys see that okay?
Yeah.
Cool. So essentially what this is, it's kind of a live group programming contest, and it occurs, I've already forgotten the date. Let's see here. I should know these things. I believe it's in February. There we go. February 17th. And so what you can do is you can create a couple different teams. And if you look at some of the past examples of what they were doing, that is not the right link. I thought they had kind of the old ones. Let's see here. Here's past problems. So these are some of the examples, and I'll forward you this email so you can pass it around too. But essentially, this is what happened in 2019, and so the qualifying round that occurred, it wasn't super complicated. It was just building up a photo slideshow, and it kind of walks you through all of the different pieces. But basically, we have like 4 hours to do something like this and solve it. And we can create teams. I believe you have to have people, 2 to 4 people on a team. And as part of Jamstack GR, I am hosting that through Jamstack. So I actually have the judging system and everything with it. So once you create your teams, you're able to this bugs me to no end. They don't have multi-login on this thing for some reason. Hang on one sec. Throw it up in Firefox here. Okay. So essentially what you need, so this is my team that I've set up here. But this Jamstack GR, it's going to ask you at some point when you're creating your team, Jamstack GR and the fact it's in the United States. And then I'll be able to see those in all of the different hubs, kind of like this. And it's just a super, super fun way, I think, to have everybody come together to try to code up solutions for this. And you basically win a trip to Ireland to compete in the final round. So it's worth a try in my book. We're going to host it at OST the 17th. And I'll plan on bringing in as much pizza and everything else that we need to host everybody down there. What's everybody think? I know I can't hear you that well, but
sounds good to me.
In? Yeah, a lot of thumbs. Yeah. Awesome.
Ireland? Oh yeah.
Oh, I forgot to put my cool banner up. I created a little banner. There you go. HashCode. So I'll forward that over to you, Matt, and you can distribute it out.
Yeah.
Cool. So besides that, did you start on your GVSU Computing Club site yet?
Yeah, go ahead and go to gvsucomputingclub.com. Want to check it out? Got a domain set up. It was really fun. Thanks for showing us that.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is out of Gatsby, it looks like, right? Very cool. So are you having fun with it so far?
Oh yeah.
Do you have any questions that you want me to walk you through, or a repo you want me to jump into and do anything with you?
Not off the top of my head, but I was thinking about something earlier, but I forgot. But I'll let you know when I remember it.
Cool. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot more to talk about other than the HashCode piece. Is there anything else to do you guys need help with anything else from OST perspective or AGMP perspective?
I don't think at the moment, but
Okay. I do have one more kind of it's a pitch for AGMP that I've been trying to figure out for everyone. And I'm just curious. Basically, I need some more content on AGMP, and I'm running out of time these days to create it myself. So I have kind of a backlog of items. I was wondering if you guys, I'm looking to like pay people to start creating content on there, and if that interests anyone. It kind of keeps you in the tech world.
What is that again?
Can you say that again? Sorry.
What is it?
he's asking what was it again?
Yeah. What were you just referencing?
Yeah, so basically on my site out here, what I'm looking to do is I create courses and lessons, but essentially I want some individuals from Grand Valley, and you guys were the first people I thought of. I'd like to get some more content out here and some more lessons and different things. What I'm looking to do is pay people to create like a lesson or a course, and just depending on how involved that becomes, essentially I can create the videos and things, but making the actual lessons, it takes a decent amount of time. But if any of you are interested in doing that, I'm looking to pay basically to start creating this stuff, and you can create it kind of similarly to how you are creating your club page right now. But you would come into like my backend for AGMP and create like lessons and blog posts and things like that on there. So if any of you are interested in that, I haven't quite worked out the financials on how much per. That's something we can continue to talk through, but I'd love to kind of have it two-sided, right? Like I hope to teach you guys some things, but also being able to drop in that content would be amazing. So
Sounds great. Some really information I can forward it.
sure, that sounds good. Yeah, is there any other topics you guys are curious about tonight?
I wanted to ask why prefer the Jamstack over other web stacks out there?
So the Jamstack for me, it's a couple different things. So it provides the most flexibility for me to drop in solutions as I see fit. The biggest piece of that is I think you're going to see a huge shift to serverless in the coming years, I guess I would say. So you're already seeing a rise in enterprise of everyone moving out to the quote unquote cloud, if you will. Sorry, I should do this. Cloud, if you will. And basically, if you're not kind of geared up on AWS, Google Cloud, or Azure, or all of them, you're probably going to start to struggle to find jobs. Even I shouldn't say it's struggle, but if you start down the path of I'm just a front end web developer, right? You could make it so far, but I think money wise and salary wise, you're not going to find as much. I know I'm going really deep on this like Jamstack question. I apologize, but essentially Jamstack's going to allow you to live in those spaces though, right? So anything that can connect out through JavaScript APIs, right? It's going to allow you to do that in a serverless fashion, and then kind of that's the start of it in my mind. And then you can build out your skill set past there. Have you guys heard of like the T shape for a developer? Anybody know what that is?
We go by a lot of things, but deep on open.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So wide across on a lot of different topics, and then deep down. I think what you're seeing a trend on right now is that I keep referencing as a broken comb. You might hear it referenced differently, but you're gonna want to stay wide on everything still, but you're gonna have to pick more items kind of in that down tier. Maybe not as deep, but in different items. So Jamstack kind of allows you to do that as well. So you could start down the side of, I want to be front end, so I want to know, Angular, React, or Vue.js, or all of them, right? So you kind of start into that side of it. Okay, now I've got my front end development hat, and I'm really working towards that. The next piece is, okay, well, I want to work through Firebase and start to learn some backend database development. That's great. I think that's a good start. But then once you start to get into other enterprise level technologies, they're going to want more like SQL driven items or like data lakes, BigQuery, those sort of items. And they want that pushed out to the web still. So that's going to be another one of those tiers. You're going to want to know them all so that you can kind of talk through them. And what that's going to allow you to do in your career is continually build up those skill sets and plug them into that broken comb model. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and so Jamstack for me, it kind of keeps you on that roadmap, and it doesn't lock you in. Like I spent a decade in SAP, right? And so my main focus was always ABAP, and I guess you could say SQL too, but I could never like plug in Algolia for a search item or plug in this API until like you made it out to the web and really took in that Jamstack life where you can just drop in any API that you need and add that to your site. That's where you get the most buy-in. Not saying like monolithic solutions don't exist and aren't good. WordPress is still like, I can't remember the last statistic, but I think it's like 60% of the web or something like that still. So there's definitely a place for it still. Any other thoughts? Questions?
What front end framework do you use? React, Angular, Vue?
I caught the last half. Sorry. I have to jump up closer to the laptop.
Which front end framework do you use?
Yep. So for the past 4 or 5 years, Angular developer. So that's kind of what I grew up on, I guess I'll say. Agent P, Gatsby, right? That's a React framework. So I've been using React more lately. I've checked out Vue. I just haven't had a need to go down that road yet. From my community of developers, everyone loves Vue. It's just that corporations, at least in our area, haven't adopted Vue. And I think that's still the case across a lot of them. So even though people love Vue and do a lot of like MVP projects and smaller projects on it, I'm just not seeing the trend still where it's taken off.
I have a question. Do you have any advice for new developers, like who just like maybe switch to the major or they're just starting out on learning code in general? Do you have any advice to like getting into web development and staying up to date with all these terms that are being thrown around?
Yeah, so staying up to date, it's really tough. As far as like just getting in, kind of back to that framework question, don't jump into a framework. That's my biggest piece of advice. I have a 10-year-old, almost 11-year-old, and as we're learning things, I'm teaching him just strictly JavaScript, and we're starting there. And that kind of holds true in any framework, right? So if you want to be an Angular or a Vue or a React developer, you still have to know JavaScript at the end of the day. So the key there to get started. I think there's some great courses on JavaScript and understanding the patterns within it. It's kind of with ES6 and kind of the newer stuff coming up with modules and different items there. You can do so much now. Have you guys heard of Svelte at all? Let me see. I can pop that up for a second here. Maybe. Here we go. So this is another, I guess I'll call it framework. It's actually not a framework per se. It's kind of a, it's a, yeah, compiler, I guess is the right term. But essentially, you're writing more JavaScript with Svelte, than you are anything else. And so it takes a pretty light approach to it. I see a lot of things trending this way. Again, it's not widely adopted, but developers are loving it. So you're starting to see big names like this kind of pop in there. So that's one to check out. For you guys, what I would recommend, though, if you are looking to get into front-end development, is it JavaScript beginners? There we go. This course is awesome. So this is beginner JavaScript. Wes just finished this one up recently. So that is, sorry, I got too many monitors floating around tonight. So that's that one. I think Wes does, if you can prove you're still in college, I can't remember how he does it, but you can grab that course for free. You might have to email him. I can't remember. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I know for a fact you can get, it's either free or close to it for people in college. So you should be able to email them. But that's a course I would highly recommend. The other one is always Free Code Camp. So that worked. So Free Code Camp has hours and hours and hours of free resources that you can go out and grab. So I'll throw that one up here a minute.
Are you familiar with the Odin project?
Odin?
Yeah.
Like the god Odin?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I haven't heard of that one.
Okay. I'm actually going through that one now. I like it because you set up a development environment rather than using like the browser stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting. So this is, so you're just using their environment to do it, or?
No, they have you set up VS Code and actually use
Okay.
their environment. The JavaScript is the one I'm using.
That's a new one for me. I'm gonna pop that into my week in web that I gotta get done tonight. Cool. Thanks for that one.
Sure.
Let's see here. So those are probably some of the best JavaScript ones. Someone I like to follow. If you guys listen to podcasts at all, we're starting a new one. So if you want to jump on that, but let's see, Syntax, Wes Boss, and Scott Stalinsky. It's a great little one. So perfect.dev is the one that we're kicking off, by the way. I'll send you some more once we get some more episodes out there. But I was trying to find, let's see here. So you know what? I need to back up a minute and ask you a question about that. So I'm doing this course right now, and I'd love to get some feedback from you guys. I'm basically calling it for a 10-year-old, and so it's HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I was gonna plan on doing all the kind of basics in Code Sandbox, which basically provides you a full environment. Let's see here. So this is the Code Sandbox setup, and you can jump into it. I'm not showing anything, am I? Sorry, guys. So this is kind of my blog and the courses that we're going through right now, and these are done through Code Sandbox, and they have a Git set up on the back end, so you can like fork any of my examples and things like that. I was gonna run with this, so you don't have to go through the whole like install process and Git set up and all of that for all the basics, and then jump into. So I have the HTML side of this, and then we're gonna get into web dev in the future. Let's see here. So here's kind of a lot of the layout that we're setting up. But once we get into the web dev side of things, I was planning on going down the VS Code route. What's your thoughts as far as like IDEs and wanting to set those up?
Would you have them set up like a full like install Node.js and things like that?
On the web dev one, once we get started with that, I definitely will. Because I want to do some Node.js backend work, because most of the time, even in serverless environments, you're going to need to run some sort of backend as you're coding. So if you need more security measures in place, you're going to put in what's called a Lambda on AWS or a Cloud Function on GCP. And those are still JavaScript based, but it's backend coding, right? So you could tie out to a database or just run some functions. There's a whole list of things you can do with Cloud Functions. Did I show you guys any of that before on Firebase? Next time you guys meet, if you want me to walk through that, let's put that on the list. I'll walk through some Firebase functions for sure. Highly encourage you. I was just sending out, we're doing a Jamstack GR on the 21st. If any of you can make it down, we're covering Scully.io. So similar to Gatsby, but it's a new product coming out of Angular camp. So if you're interested in Angular, it's a great spot to start kind of getting your feet wet, especially if you want to get on the ground floor. This has next to no contributors really, because it just started up. It'd be a fantastic project to jump into. Aaron Frost is a really cool guy. He actually heads up NGConf, which is like one of the largest Angular conferences, if not the largest in the world. So that would be something cool to get into if you guys are interested in joining up. The more open source stuff you can start to work on and show to like employers that you're doing on the side outside of school, it's huge. It just shows kind of that motivation for you guys to take that next step. I keep thinking I'm showing my screen and I'm not. Sorry. So this was the meetup. This is Scully.io in the workspace. So I think this hopefully will one day be on like that stack bit that I showed you guys when you were at OST. Wow, this changed a little bit. Man, this all changed. Was this like this when you set up the GVSU site?
It was actually like changed today when I saw it, but I think a couple days ago it was different.
That's interesting. I'll have to go check this out some more. There we go. That's what I'm used to. But I would see like Scully IO starting to fit in here somewhere soon as another option. So what's happening at Grand Valley these days? How's the semester going?
Starting up school, getting back to the swing of things. About
The usual things are kicking up, pretty much. Operating systems is gonna be a tough class, but you know.
Yeah, operating systems gets deep. You guys said you still have to take assembly, right? We covered that last time.
Yeah, there's a class for that.
That's some rough stuff.
Yeah, you're in there now, yeah. You don't start assembly until later. It's fun.
It's fun. Computer organization.
Did anybody did you guys start, like, no one's at the senior level, did you start any master projects yet?
I have not, but I do some research with encrypted DNS and the performance of the different kinds or different implementations.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. That's some deep stuff.
Yeah.
I'm doing research with basically we built a simulation for like this like an agent to get through and try to go through this tunnel world. But basically it has to do with like topics in reinforcement learning and machine learning.
Gotcha.
Could you do that with
Dr. Moore.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Are you doing, where are you doing the machine learning part at?
Python.
Say it again?
Python.
Oh, okay. What environment is it? Like ML kit, or is it?
We have to figure that out. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Firebase has some cool little ML pieces to it as well. Not that I keep pushing Firebase, but there's just so much there. They have this whole ML kit piece. And you can use it, it says for mobile, but you can use it in all of your cloud stuff too. So cool. Well, if you guys don't have anything else tonight, next time, if you want me to come in, I'd be happy to show off anything.
Sounds good.
Awesome. I really appreciate your time. I'll send you that email kind of touching on HashCode and, you know, if anybody wants to do some content and make some easy money, coding up some content, really appreciate it.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, go Lakers.
Oh yeah. I think you're up, right?
See ya.